So guys, I bet many of us already noticed that on March 26th, the IDV devs will release a suspiciously large number of S and A tier skins. Now look, I know the devs have been generous lately. They've been giving us fragments, free stuff, little rewards here and there. Very, very kind indeed. This time, it hits different though. I mean, look, almost all the time-limited skins came back at once. Previously, this kind of thing used to be decided through a voting contest every year. The community would vote for which limited skins should return, which sometimes resulted in a nuclear war in English 1 chat. Now, in 2026, however, the voting contest has been abolished. Just like slavery was abolished hundreds of years ago, this one was abolished too. Good riddance, eh? Now this is where things get interesting. Being generous is one thing. Being broke, however, that is my thing. Well, perhaps yours too, but mostly my thing. Anyway, more skins mean more fragments to spend, and more fragments to spend means more money to be lost. That should be the case, unless you know that there are actually several ways to earn fragments quickly, without even touching your weekly allowance. And don't worry, this method is completely legal, so you don't have to worry about the FBI suddenly knocking on your apartment door to investigate any illegal transaction. How does the method work, you ask? Well guys, let's dive in. So, I feel the need to explain this since not every one of my viewers is a veteran of Identity V. In fact, quite a number of my viewers just started playing IDV, so they might need a quick explanation about what a fragment actually is. Well, a fragment in this suspiciously horror game is a form of in-game currency that you can use to buy many items, such as skins and accessories for each character. Think of it as what the devs give you for playing the game, or for getting double-teamed by that one Burke and Bane, resulting in you angrily cursing both of them in the English 1 channel. Fragments are shown as a purple crystal shard in the menu, alongside several other in-game currencies, which sometimes you can't help but to think that there are too many of them, that you might end up memorizing them like foreign currencies. There are two main ways of getting fragments. The first is by playing the game and actively participating in events, and the second is by purchasing them with another in-game currency called Echoes. Many players often share their frustration about not having enough fragments, and for a good reason, to be fair. They often don't have enough whenever their favorite skins suddenly drop. Coincidence? Well, maybe yes and maybe no. I mean, whenever a certain skin is about to become available, there is usually an announcement beforehand. A diligent player would start grinding before the available date so they can collect fragments for their desired skins. Grinding for fragments feels especially important whenever a character's skin drops, particularly those labeled as time-limited skins. Since these items are only available for a certain period of time, it creates that feeling of urgency when players want to grab them. However, even a single S-tier skin costs almost 13,000 fragments. And sometimes the skins don't come alone. In some events, several skins drop at the same time. In fact, in this upcoming event, there are so many skins coming back that I don't even want to count them. I think it's more than 20. When you are in that situation, it suddenly feels like the one thing you want the most during that period is a huge pile of fragments. So the question now is simple. How do we grind fragments efficiently? And more importantly, how can we get a lot of fragments without needing to spend our lunch money? The easiest way to get fragments is by claiming them through the daily rewards. By doing this, you can get fragments without any hassle, even if you only have 5 minutes a day to play Identity 5, just like me whenever work gives me a tight schedule. To do this, you simply need to log in and check yourself in through the daily check-in. Among the many rewards you can get from checking in, one of them is fragments. Sure, the amount of fragments you get from this method isn't much, but considering this is probably the easiest task you can do in the game, there really shouldn't be any complaints, right? Besides, if you do this consistently, those small amounts will slowly grow into a pretty decent fragment deposit. Playing 3 matches daily is all you need to obtain the daily match rewards in this game, and one of the rewards you can get is fragments. Sure, you can only get a handful of fragments from doing this. But again, this method is extremely easy, so there shouldn't be any complaints. You can complete these matches by playing quick matches, duo hunters, or even rank matches. After finishing the 3 matches, the rewards can then be claimed in the menu. There is also one interesting mode that appears every weekend in IDV called the 5-player rank match. This mode is quite similar to the usual rank match, but instead of calculating your personal rank, the results contribute to your guild's performance instead. The points here are called guild activity points, rather than your usual rank points. Let me explain how this works. First, you need to join a guild in order to participate and receive rewards from the 5-player rank match. Once you join a guild, you can earn activity points simply by logging in, and playing normal matches will also contribute to your guild's activity points. So basically, the more you play while being in a guild, the higher your activity points will be. Then, every weekend, there is the 5-player rank match, where you can participate to obtain a currency called guild tokens. Playing 3 matches in this mode with your guildmates will also give you an additional 10% personal activity points. All the accumulated activity points will contribute to the guild. At the end of the season, these points are calculated, and depending on how high the guild's activity score is, you will receive various amounts of guild tokens. In short, the more active your guild is, the more guild tokens you can earn. These guild tokens can then be exchanged for many items, one of which is fragments. To access this, you simply open the guild menu and go to the guild store. A little secret though, I actually didn't realize this trick when I first started playing IDV. I only discovered it about a year later. When I finally opened the guild store, I realized I had accumulated a huge amount of unused guild tokens, which I happily exchanged for thousands of fragments. Playing matches every day will grant you seasonal progress dice, which you can use to obtain seasonal rewards such as essences, stickers, and even seasonal skins. However, here I want you to pay attention to the seasonal essences. These seasonal essences will randomly give you many kinds of rewards, such as skins, accessories, or graffitis for taunting the hunter, as well as silently saying the F word to the downed survivor if you're the hunter. The more seasonal essences you open, the higher the chance that you will receive duplicate rewards, and any duplicate item in Identity V will automatically be converted into fragments. In other words, the more seasonal essences you open, the more fragments you will eventually receive. Seasonal progress dice are capped at 42,000 points each week. This cap can usually be reached in around 4 days if you are a rank addict. It can even be obtained faster if you somehow manage to get a win streak in every match. Of course, that is almost impossible, because sometimes the ping or your random teammates will kindly remind you to stay humble. Now here's a suspiciously great trick to get fragments quickly. Memory spheres. Technically, memory spheres are a type of essence that allows you to obtain rewards from past seasons instead of the current one. You can get these memory spheres in several ways. The easiest method is by participating in the Daily Duo Hunters mode, where you can obtain 3 memory spheres for free. Sometimes the developers also give them out as compensation whenever an update goes wrong, or simply whenever they feel generous enough to do so. Another way to obtain them is by exchanging another in-game currency called clues, which is probably the easiest currency to obtain in the game. These essences, just like other essences, contain many different rewards, except that the items come from past seasons rather than the current one. And just like before, if you receive duplicate items, they will automatically be converted into fragments. Because memory spheres are relatively easy to obtain, especially since you can trade clues for them, you can open quite a large number of them. And opening a large number of essences naturally increases the chance of getting duplicates, which means more fragments. In other words, this trick is basically turning your clues into fragments. This method is actually quite handy, because we often accumulate a huge amount of clues from daily rewards without even realizing it. Instead of letting those clues sit there unused, you can simply exchange them for memory spheres and open them. Some of those items will inevitably be duplicates, and those duplicates will turn into fragments. I personally managed to get thousands of fragments this way, sometimes even up to 3,000 fragments at a time. if you log into the game every day, one of the daily rewards you will occasionally receive is a trial card for B-tier skins. Now, if you already have your favorite skins, this card might seem completely useless. Or is it? Well, apparently not. The developers of Identity V are generous enough to let us dismantle those cards into fragments. Yep, that's right. Another great method to obtain fragments is by dismantling trial cards. This applies not only to B-tier trial cards, but also to A-tier ones, as well as many other cards such as the General Character Trial card, the Hunter Trial card, the Survivor Trial card, and the Accessory Trial card. Even some permanent cards can be dismantled if you happen to be the kind of player who refuses to follow the mainstream. These cards, once dismantled, will turn into fragments. One card might only give you around 10 to 100 fragments. But if you collect many of them, which is very likely if you mostly play only 2 or 3 characters, you will eventually accumulate quite a large stack of unused trial cards. And those trial cards can become a nice emergency fragment fund. Just dismantle them into fragments and suddenly you're not broke anymore. Aside from those cards, you can also dismantle the Rank Season Frame card into fragments. This card is a reward you occasionally receive after completing 3 rank matches in a day. Normally, this card can be exchanged for a seasonal rank frame, which changes every season. However, if you are not interested in the frame, you can simply convert the card into fragments instead. And the amount is actually quite decent. One card can be exchanged for 200 fragments. That means if you have at least 5 of them, you already have 1,000 fragments ready to go. Personally, I never exchange these cards for the rank frames, since many event frames are already cute and beautiful enough. So whenever I receive this card, I just save it in case I suddenly need fragments later. Now, this one is quite a reliable way to get fragments, especially if you don't have much time to play the game. In this method, you can obtain fragments by participating in seasonal events in IDV. Even though each event only lasts for a limited time, there are so many events throughout the year that once one event ends, another one usually starts soon after. So, in practice, there is almost always some kind of event happening in IDV. Many of these events give fragments as rewards. While the amount might not always be huge, it can still help fill the gaps in your fragment savings. And if you are too busy or simply unwilling to fully participate in the event because it takes too much time, you can always press the skip button when the event story is playing and still claim the rewards in the end. Sure, you might miss the event's story, but hey, if you don't have time, nobody can really blame you for that. Lastly, you can also receive fragments whenever a season comes to an end. Depending on how high your rank tier was during the previous season, you will receive fragments in different amounts. The higher your rank, the better the rewards will be. So, simply grinding your rank not only improves your skill in the game, but also gives you fragments as an additional reward. Not a bad deal, right? I'm not entirely sure if these are all the possible ways to obtain fragments in the game. So if you know a method that I missed, feel free to share it in the comments section. By the way, on March 26, the developers will also give us a card that allows us to unlock a certain skin for free. This information has been confirmed by the IDV Logic account on Twitter, so you might want to think carefully about which skin you want to pick during this event. My personal suggestion would be to use the card for a time-limited S-tier skin, since those skins come and go. There are several S-tier skins that are permanently available in the shop, so you might want to avoid choosing those since they can always be obtained later. Also, I would not recommend using the card for an A-tier skin unless you are a masochist. Anyway, that's all from me for now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.